The UK remains one of the top investment destinations across the globe. What makes Britain great and how does the new UK government aim to boost investments? We'll get you all this and more. We have with us Crispin Simon, UK's Trade Commissioner for South Asia. Welcome to Economic Times.
Thank you. Nice to be here.
How do you see the contribution of Indian businesses in the UK economy and how do you see the growth?
Well, I think that the start of new companies is one of the best indicators of a really healthy, vibrant economy, business startups. And the rate of business startups in the UK has consistently been strong. I think that there is a sense amongst many people who might formerly have gone to work in big companies like I did earlier in my career. They would now like to have a go at starting their own business, at employing themselves rather than waiting for somebody to employ them. And I think that sense is strong in the UK, and I think it's strong in India as well. So I think Indian companies recognize that entrepreneurial zeal, and even if the companies that come over don't necessarily interact with startups, but actually hire people instead, I think either is good. The economy is creating new businesses and new jobs, and Indian companies and Indian entrepreneurs coming over to the UK to develop their business, to allow Britain to be the site of their globalization ambitions once they've got going in India, I think is a very attractive prospect and something we put a lot of time and effort into. The UK, a welcoming place to come and develop your business and to take it globally.
London seems to be the preferred destination for most of the businesses. In fact, more than half of the Indian companies are based out of London. What are the possibilities outside of London, and also are there any initiatives, incentives given by the government?
Well, there are many communities, business communities outside London, and I fear that if I start naming some, I will then neglect others. But there are cities in the English regions, first and foremost, in the Midlands and in the North, that are extremely important in financial services, and in the Midlands in electric mobility, which is going to be extraordinarily important over the next 30 years if the world and Britain and India meet the carbon control targets. And then there are important cities, Cardiff, Belfast and Edinburgh in particular, the capitals of the devolved administrations, where there are extremely vibrant business communities, and I'm delighted that there are Indian companies that have invested only in the last 12 months in all three of the devolved administration regions. They are part of the package that I'd go back to again. Personally, I feel that if companies are only interested in tax incentives, then maybe they're not the right kind of company for the UK anyway, because we're looking to create very high value products and services, very high value jobs. And if the companies that come over absolutely have to have the lowest possible business rates, the lowest possible rent, the lowest possible employee wages, then there are cheaper places to go around the world. What we're looking for is high value investment with significant intellectual property content. And there are, in our experience, that's where most of the Indian companies fit that profile.
Technology and telecom, they seem to dominate the entire scene. Do you think there's been a change in the type of companies that are entering the UK in the last few years or so?
I think it remains a balance of manufacturers and service companies. And of course, manufacturers have to replenish their capital equipment. If it lasts, say, 5 or 6 years, they will tend to put more capital in. Often that will be through retained earnings. We hope that there would be a good flow of dividends from all Indian companies out of the UK back to India. So the investment is not just the initial investment, but it's creating sustainable businesses and sustainable jobs, and also, to make a slight digression, operating in a sustainable way with proper regard to environmental standards, employee involvement. We think that Indian companies bring a lot to bear in terms as employers. I see standards in the UK from the Indian companies that in many cases cause us to raise our game, and that's a very good thing too.
Fintech is one of the growing emerging sectors. Do you think UK government is looking at specific sectors on areas like IoT and AI, robotics, etc.?
Well, I think every sector of the economy is important. We're delighted to have Indian businesses that may be extraordinarily competitive in one narrow field that you wouldn't even think of as a sector. That's fine. Any Indian company is welcome. But you're right, there are some sectors that are in a phase of particular growth, and time doesn't stand still. And I think that it is appropriate for us to target Indian investors and indeed support British companies coming to India that are operating particularly in the fields of artificial intelligence and fintech, which were the ones that you mentioned, but as well green technology I think is extremely important. We have an exceptionally strong UK business in offshore wind, and India has a very, very long coastline indeed, and I hope and believe that there are many opportunities for offshore wind for British companies collaborating with Indian companies when they come to India.
Besides technology, are there any other sectors or any other areas which the UK government is looking at exploring and think that that can contribute to the UK and India business relationship?
Well, there are subsectors of all those three, without a doubt. So artificial intelligence, I think everybody knows, is not so much a sector as a fundamental change in most businesses' fundamental business model. So artificial intelligence feels more like an industrial competence, and everybody in every sector needs to think about that. Consumer, business and government. GovTech is extraordinarily important, and I know the Indian government and Indian states are all over that, and so is the British government. But within green technology as well, offshore wind is important, as I mentioned a moment ago, but electric vehicles are extraordinarily important, and power storage and distribution. And there are wonderful opportunities in smart metering, for example. So there are a myriad of opportunities and segments within segments within segments. And I think that there are companies that will bring technology both ways, India to the UK and the UK to India.
And lastly, before we let you go, what measures does the government planning to take to reinforce itself as the hub of business to the world, and also the image of ease of doing business in the UK? Anything specific for students who want to study in the UK and maybe work later and maybe open a startup?
Well, I was at NASSCOM this time last year, and we had still not got a clear path out of the European Union. And I think that the vibe that I'm receiving this year as the British government's representative here is that there is a surge of energy. People are pleased and relieved. They weren't negative about the UK before, but they were thinking, when is this going to actually happen? So I think that there is a surge of energy here at NASSCOM this year with respect to the UK. And that does feed through, as you said, directly into visa policy. I know many Indians are extremely interested in our visa policies, and we've seen 3 separate announcements in the last few months, all relating to the visa regime, and all of which we believe are extremely positive for Indians of all ages. So tourists, students, Tier 2 visa holders. I experience people going to work in the UK. In all 3 areas, there have been an opportunity for Indian people to say, I can see Britain is definitely serious about being open to business and open to the world.
Thank you for talking to Economic Times. This was Crispin Simon, UK's Trade Commissioner for South Asia. He sounded very positive about the trade relationship with India and aimed to build it further.